Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I am going to be talking about the 29th degree of Leo, and this applies and pertains to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Now, anyway, first off, well, 29 degrees can represent the full culmination and energy of a zodiac sign. This could give very powerful, amplified, intensified Leo characteristics. It could even give distorted ones, perhaps, I believe. Now, this person that has a Leo at 29 degrees could be exceptionally loud, literally, have a loud personality. Also, very boisterous, domineering, gregarious, extroverted, generous, magnanimous, very really amplified courage and fortitude, and almost maybe a little bit overly confident and self-assured, might even come across as rather arrogant or coxcombical or overly pretentious. Now, I believe also 29 degrees can be a degree of procrastination, since it is the last degree, and I do believe latter degrees of zodiac signs can indicate is somebody that is generally more late on average, has a greater propensity toward being late than being on time, punctual, or early for things in general. Now, there may be procrastination, strong procrastination, and things that are Leo related, such as attention seeking things, things that are connected with notoriety, recognition. It could be whether it's receiving an award for something. It could be creative endeavors, things pertaining to children, issues, things connected with leadership, and also entertainment. It could even be something simply as meeting somebody to go to some entertainment venue, or go to the movies, or something entertainment related in general, and also things that require extravagance and things that need to be that are going to cost a little more than average. Now, also, 29 degrees of a zodiac sign can be upheaval and crisis oriented. Given that this is Leo, this could bring about perhaps many dramatic events and issues. There may be a lot of over dramatization, and maybe a number of issues connected with pride as well. And it could be, and when you look at really the 29th degree could be a sense of lack as well. And sometimes it's like, when I say overkill, I mean, something where it's really overboard, and it's the area where people may not get enough of something. There's always that need, that perpetual need, if you will, for more. And given that it's Leo, this could be someone that never gets enough applause, accolades, never feel like they're completely appreciated or lauded and praised enough for what they do. They might constantly, incessantly be demanding some kind of attention and recognition and acknowledgement for whatever it is he or she may be doing. Now, also, there may be, going back to the crisis upheaval thing, there could be issues as well tied into perhaps an overly extravagant nature, and a nature that may have difficulty living within their means. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, of course, in the chart, there can be contraindicators. And if you have like a strong Earth element, a preponderance of Earth planets, and Earth ascendant, or what have you, this could modify this to some degree, because, of course, Earth energy is more prudent and assiduous regarding finances generally, and more economical, and has a greater generally ability to hold on to what they have and live within their means, as opposed to Leo energy. So anyway, and also this 29th degree, I mean, Leo in general can have near indefatigable and inexorable energy, but at 29 degrees, this is almost like that energy, almost on steroids, figuratively speaking, very amplified. And especially if it is the ascendant or sun. I mean, both can be connected with the vitality. The sun is a more creative energy, but I think the sun can still be the energy, general energy to some degree. But the ascendant actually is what I equate a little bit more with the stronger vitality, because it is connected with the physical body. Now, if it's 29 degrees Leo on the ascendant, the person may have a very expanded, prodigious overexertion issues, and may have crisis-related matters connected with the physical body, such as issues with the heart and upper back. And if it's the sun in Leo at 29 degrees, it could be more, really, it can be vitality issues and maybe issues with longevity as well, because the sun is about life, remember, and in living to, I mean, just trying to live an average lifespan could be an arduous task. I'm not saying it can happen. I'm sure a lot of people have the sun in Leo at 29 degrees that live to an average age. Renowned NFL football coach. I'm going to talk about him a little bit later in this video. I believe he's like 76 years old, and he likely has his sun at 29 degrees Leo, and he's like 76. So I mean, but what I'm saying is there can be more difficulties with the life with this, because due to perhaps that overexertion thing I was talking about before, and sometimes Leos just can't simply acknowledge when enough is enough, and they go above and beyond what they're capable of, because their pride, I think, really kind of conflicts in a way, if with what they're actually able to do. I think Leos think they just can do just about anything, and sometimes they just go a little overboard, and then when you have it at the 29th degree, there you go, it's even more amplified. So anyway, now let's say if it's the moon in Leo at 29 degrees, well, this could be even, it'd be more of an emotional drainage, perhaps somewhat tied into, or at least somewhat attributed to, excessive, dramatic, exciting situations in the life. And there also may be very exceptionally powerful emotional responses, perhaps with like that Leo-like ferocity to some degree. And maybe even issues more with the home and family that are very dramatic, considering it is the moon, and of course the moon is associated with the home and family. Next thing, as far as Sabian symbols go, well, 29 degrees Leo, it could really only be like the incessant compulsive complainer. It could be a person that may constantly lament about their limitations and problems and issues, but as opposed to maybe actually doing something about them. However, on a positive note, this could give an affinity for the supernatural, occult. The person may be proficient in astrology. This could give very strong, persistent, and tractable energy. This could also be a rather fortuitous degree for attaining a high stature in life, and perhaps attaining certain prestige and notoriety and much exposure, and also one that has a very strong ability perhaps to be victorious and triumphant over their adversaries. And also, this degree can be auspicious for, if you will, for inversions, or should say maybe making a positive transformation and transitions in life. Now, I'm going to talk about a prolific former NFL coach, Bill Parcells, who likely has his sun in Leo at 29 degrees, depending on birth time. Now, he is somebody, I mean, you're talking about transformations and transitions. Now, I mean, what Bill Parcells did, I mean, I'll give you a good example how he's about turnaround big time. In 1997, he took over a floundering franchise with the New York Jets that was 1-15 the previous season, led them to a 9-7 mark. After, again, being an abysmal 1-15 the season before. I mean, he helped nearly single-handedly transform that franchise and resurrected a figuratively dead franchise that just got one win the previous season. And the following season led them to a 12-4 record and made all the way to the AFC Championship game. Now, the thing about this is it's also important to look at the house this falls in, as this could impact the delineation. Now, let's say, I mean, if it's the Ascendant, of course, that's the first house, but let's say that this is the sun in Leo at 29 degrees in one's third house. Now, this could give an overwhelming extroverted nature and a strong want to express oneself in a very extroverted manner, and perhaps in connection with neighbors, with siblings, with cousins, and in there, and really, and also about wanting that strong, powerful need for notoriety and recognition in matters connected with communications. It could be something where this is a writer that is commanding, demanding a lot of attention for his and her works, as an example. So anyway, now I'm going to talk about another example, 29 degrees Leo, Donald Trump. I mean, one of the more famous examples, of course, has, of course, 29 degrees Leo on the Ascendant. And, of course, the Ascendant is the outer demeanor, and he certainly very outwardly, very blatantly expresses a very strong Leo persona, very exceptionally flamboyant, dominant personality, very charismatic. I mean, it's hard to overlook him and be oblivious to him, even if you try to ignore someone like him. Very magnetic and very gregarious nature as well. And I mean, saying that he's very extroverted would be a vast understatement. I believe he has like 7, I don't remember the exact number, I think like 7 of his 10 planets are above the horizon, and he just, I mean, really radiates a very strong Leo energy. And but on a negative side, he really, I mean, excessively boasts about his accomplishments and achievements. Again, when I talk about the 29th degree, this could be a distorted Leo energy, and I mean, his comes out in a very amplified manner, to say the least. I mean, but in all fairness to Donald Trump and astrology out of the equation, I think a lot of his boasting actually might be to kind of maybe counteract, if you will, and combat a lot of the derogatory remarks that he gets in the media from others. So I think it's kind of a way, I mean, it's just my theory anyway, that he's trying to balance things out, so to speak. So anyway, well, it's also important to look at the aspects that are made to this 29th degree of Leo, as this could impact the delineation as well. Now, I mean, if it makes predominantly good aspects, of course, you're going to have a lot more positive energy come out. If it makes a lot of positive aspects to other points in your natal chart, you'll see in a lot of the magnanimous, very powerful, magnanimous, generous, gregarious energy come out. In creative ability, perhaps, but let's say it is predominantly adverse aspects. Well, the opposite could be true, and you could see a lot of energy that could be overly boastful and maybe even pretentious and coxcombical, and very maybe overly dramatic and overconfident as well. Now, I mean, take an example. Let's say you have somebody has a 29th degree of Leo, and they have Jupiter making an adverse aspect to it in their chart. I mean, this could be a person that this could perhaps accentuate perhaps a propensity to over dramatize things. And let's say more specifically, let's say if this makes let's say somebody has Jupiter making an inconjunct aspect to one's 29 degrees Leo ascendant. Jupiter's coming from the 6th house, and this could be somebody that might over dramatize and distort their day-to-day occurrences, and it could somewhat perhaps amplify maybe a nature that might have a tendency to over dramatize things to begin with. So anyway, now, what I want to talk about as well, I mean, as far as predictive astrology goes, well, this could be something where, like, let's say for example, let's say if the Sun in Leo in transit hits 29 degrees and it hits somebody's 5th house in their chart. This could indicate perhaps that focus and attention on the end of maybe an extravagant situation with a child, a romantic partner, or even a gambling situation. Let's say that this transit takes place in one's 7th house. Well, this could be a court matter that required seemingly inexorable energy might come to an end, and it could, and also again, I mean, I talk about one last thing I want to talk about before I head out is that as far as contraindicators go in a natal chart. Now, I mean, of course, I mean, Leo 29 degrees by itself can give, as I stated before, very distorted, amplified energy of the sign. The person might be very extrovert, exceptionally gregarious and outgoing. But I mean, let's say that the person has they have a preponderance of planets below the horizon and or in or major, or let's say they have their major majority of their major astrological influences in feminine signs. This could modify this degree perhaps strongly, and you might see somebody that might be more introverted, more introspective, and more reticent than the typical Leo at 29 degrees. Or even if, let's say, somebody has the Sun in Leo at 29 degrees, but they have like a more introverted or more reserved ascendant, such as Cancer or Virgo, this can modify that energy to some degree as well. And anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for 29 degrees Leo. Stay tuned next time where I'll be talking about 29 degrees Virgo. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.